believe the unspokenness of it. Walking, visions, musculature of neck in darkness or trunk as if bison charcoaled and the musky hide scents, or hunted we. Cabinets closing against themselves into woodenness, we skirted one another's femurs, elbows. No, I was walking alone. Intertwining restlessly, wild oregano, maple-leafed viburnum set with green fruit, as if I were a flame leaping leaf to leaf or blade to blade or stem along the stalks, row to row, or wild contemplations of what was or wasn't is to interrupt myself. Tin pelt of afternoon popping in the haze and floods of memories as if hanging by a thread or webbed unspoken, husk of my tongue, the droughted teeth, screen creaking as I opened it, slammed shut. To mean he rattled me on my hinges as if rusted or resistance, I reached for myself in the night again, a cypress at the edge of the lake, slipping in, as if the vessel cannot contain us. We spill into baptisms, cleansed or gasping. Drying up moon, this one's a little shorter. Rain recalibrates the eyes, or adjusted my vision, doubled it, or gone cloudy. I thought I saw us. To say I was drunk with looking, celebrant of the light, or slurred, and wondered at the passion of the blind, or calculus of our fingertips, singular, feeling in the dark. Probing at, or sent an exploration craft to my surface. Moon, from Proto-Germanic menon, to measure, not in straight lines, but circles, orbits, or arcs, circling, never the same way twice, to mean the world became more real or dry, and the rains cleared, and I was grown old again in August. On my way to the river, hay dried, baled, twined, piled into gray barns, whose walls lean at the edges of fields. Bales sensual, round or spun as if thread onto spools. Stalks gold, bent as if crescented. The eyes as cisterns or silos, storing what the hands cannot, though pitchforked, piled, or pulled against famine, drought. The stamp of your index having only occurred once in the universe, as if inked, scribed, the eyes in the boards of barns siding. I looked through the slats at bales, almost radiant, shafts of dusted light caught in rafters, beams. I kept going. To stall the sun or suspend it and scuffed the dirt with my heel or the sole of my shoe. Fields unfrolicked, unpaused in, pastures passing, my feet not leathered on hard-packed earth as in childhood. Blankets not spread in afternoon under trees, a country undreamed in. There used to be love here, milkweed floating as if a pod burst open, hollowed, or the hallowed ground against fence posts where it grew, Asclepius. Grain stalks sent up to look like the world is full of everything and unfammoned, as if we might not guard ourselves, or stubbled, as if it were empty and we must, or burnt. To mean a season passed and burrs not carried, not caught a lift on the hem of my pants or hem, as if grown calloused and the skirts not lifted, fence rails not climbed, straddled, not saddled. I remember love, or fingers interlacing between intervals of gear shifting, and a road, a river. I kept going to the bottom of it, rocks not in my pockets, listening to stones knocking below the surface, as if percussions of the exoskeletons of insects, or the way that stones always sunk, and skipping them, I traced the lines on my palms as if a path might open, or a lifeline thrown, to mean something to hold. I kept starting over from nothing. The eye beheld not him, strained, squinting, and what was yet untarnished. Mosquitoes whine in the ears, and a silence that deafened. Delirium, or not tremoring in my skin without the touch. The senses, instruments not absolute but relative in nature, and with distance, voices faint as if carried by tin cans, and the string strung, stretched taut between, as if we held them to our ears. And how clairvoyant I've become. The gods wear mother of pearls for eyes, an omnipresent milk, opalescent and open, as if submerged in the world or made beautiful or a mystic by what scours them, mica, schist, or intruded upon a grain of sand, or I was blinded and dreamt beside him of the webs of spiders, as if never swept between the legs of chairs, scooted back across boards of the floors, as if a thirst struck or the clutch went out in a cord and stutter in the parking lot. Cotton harvested, clothed with itself bright tufts, Malvasia, as if left to drought or naked, love might grow malevolent, or how I was cut by the spines of the okra plant, or hawthorn, locust, not knowing, the acrimonious fruit before the end, wild and bitter on the tongue, or a hole closed in, or space blotted, mottled, he said, the tart red berries of autumn olive, no roadside left undone of milkweed, chicory, Queen Anne's, no border left unbursting, to say neglected is growing, and unvacant of the fuse that drives it. Or fed my visions, I crossed again against my better judgment, and not erased, as if the eyes held pools of him, or what's absent nearing summer's end, and what's missing faded, or was eclipsed by closer bodies, or shadowed, darkened, and the all-day percussives of katydids. A druid at my doorstep to mean a praying mantis or priestess administered a blessing, and everything got nearer my skin to me. Oh God, angels' trumpet blasting cake scents through the streets languidly, as if descended to mean blossoms hanging in the cosmos fracture of city sidewalks, and I was restless again. Not petalous, but vases spilled over or tipped, top-heavy, I mean pendulous in my throat, or thunderous in the dark. It shook me, something ruptured, the words lost or submerged, as if submarine gone under, he went, and submission, surrender, as if grown algae, or a scum of complacency, or vibrant green, or a veil over my eyes, nebulous as in cloudy, or clarified the dregs of rosemary nettle mead, dredged the river, drunk the honey fermented, as if the last drop from... I'm going to skip to the end. I'm reading slowly. Thank you all. Rain in the morning, as if to live is to wake to this thunder in the window panes, halved from dreams, cleansed or exposed anew as skins of measureless thirsts, unknown even to ourselves as we turn and turn and turn again, or are turned. A hibiscus opened overnight, gray being constantly interrupted by color, articulated as so many petals or untongued syllables of this language of not death, ever pollinated to prop us against the expanse of. I fell in as if unquenched, entered hibiscus, or it fell open to me in the morning on my lips, and the words I couldn't say. Two absences, one the bud unopened, the second the flower wilted. How different, having not touched or having touched, the expectations of tongues or what's on the tip of them. Imprints of lost things, or as a tongue intertonguing need not articulate love. I was cleft, swallows circling in the evening as if the world were unchimneyed, or bricks crumbling and split my sternum anew, my breasts heaving asymmetrically, as if swallows were swifts, or there was no difference between the two. The blue of chicory on the fields colored my eyes, to mean nothing is separate, nothing is broken, when he tells me summer isn't over, as if skewed by the half-truths of my legs, and endless oblivions of goldenrod, ironweed, and acrid, and the lingering fragrances on the folds of our clothes. Cepheus in the north, the house constellation. I watched it fall below the horizon, peak of its roof, its open rooms, to mean the sky was reeling, or I was vacant of nimbuses, unsatisfied, or slipped into a moonless dark. Dobbin's farm, river silk-threaded me. I came out naked, splintered into remnants of end of the fruit moon, and reconciliations of not raucous, but red cockaded, not preserved plums, or the light was sap-sucked, pinnacled, or that it articulated the skull and eye sockets, heightened my speech at the nexus of photosynthesis and anthocyanin, authentic enunciations, or turned on its nectary to bind, as if it were the nectar that stitched tongue to flower, to whisperings, to silence, to death, to life, to desire, to next season.
Thank you all very much for attending, and please stay and have some refreshments.